Ready. Set.
Which of the Which of Which state borders in Wisconsin? Which state borders Minnesota? Which of these states? Santa Fe in New Mexico. Which state borders the Mississippi? Illinois. Which of these states? Which state borders Ohio? Which state borders Arizona? I am Mississippi and I border the Gulf of Mexico. Which state shares a border with Maryland? Which of these states? Which state borders the Atlantic? Florida. Which state borders the Great Lakes? Pennsylvania. Atlanta is the Georgia. North Dakota.
Ready. Set. Go.
Which state shares a border? Idaho. Sacramento, California. Lansing is Michigan. Which state shares a border with Connecticut, New York? The flag below Alaska. Illinois.
Ready, set, go!
Which state borders the Atlantic Ocean? Massachusetts. Which state borders the Pacific Ocean? California. Which state shares a border with New Mexico? Which state borders the Mississippi? Arkansas. Which of these states? Which of these states is South? Which state shares a border with New York? Which of these states? Which state borders the Gulf of Mississippi? Which state borders the Mississippi? Kentucky. Which state borders the Great Iowa? I am Indiana and I border the Great Lakes. Which state borders the Great Lakes? Mississippi, Pennsylvania. Boise is the capital of Idaho. Which state borders the Great Lakes? Illinois. Which of these states is Louisiana? Which state shares a border with New Jersey? Which state shares a border with Arizona? Which state borders the Pacific Ocean? Oregon. The flag below belongs to Montana. Which of these? Which of these? Which state borders the Mississippi? Tennessee. Which state borders the Mississippi? Minnesota. Indiana.